In the 1600s, on the banks of the Saugus River, something exciting happened. The Saugus Iron Works was created in Saugus, Massachusetts in 1646. The Saugus Iron Works was the first interrogated ironworks in a place called North America. The Saugus Iron Works is where the European iron makers brought their skills to a newer colony called Massachusetts. This national park is 9 acres and has working water wheels, hot forges, mills, a historic 17th century home, and the Saugus River. This ironwork was built because a group of men and women were struggling to create a new way of life in a harsh and uncertain world. They decided to create an ironwork for jobs, and the Puritans left England in the early 1630s because they believed that their country was far too corrupt. They needed an iron, and John Winthrop knew that, and they used it in not only trade with the natives and other colonies, but also to enrich their community because they were the only ironworks in North America at the time. They used it in farming, cooking, and more because they needed to make pitchforks, pans, pots, etc. Iron held together their homes like a fishing boat or a meeting house along with their economy. But the problem was that the iron goods could only be imported from England, and Winthrop desperately wanted for his Commonwealth to be self-sufficient and independent, so he and the Puritans set out to build the ironworks on the edge of the wilderness. They got their money to build their first attempt of an ironwork from Puritan investors in England, but the ironwork was in a poor location, so the investors sent over a non-Puritan engineer named Richard Leader to retry the ironwork. He found his new perfect place for the ironworks. It was on the banks of the Saugus River. The process at the ironworks was so difficult that Leader had sent over skilled professionals from England to work in the harsh conditions at the ironworks. They also sent over Scottish prisoners of war to work in the conditions of the ironworks. Winthrop turned out to be running a top contending ironworks, even contending with the ones in all of Europe. The English hired people to make the Puritan community self-reliant, but what it did was challenge the Puritans' vision of social unity and religious freedom. The Saugus Ironworks had a little bit to do with the Revolution. The Puritans didn't like the way they were treated in England, so they moved to America. England was supposed to be the only one allowed to produce iron goods and import them, but the Puritans didn't like that, so with a couple of English investors, they made an ironworks. Also, the English were questioning the religious ways of the Puritans to the point where the Puritans could no longer deal with the people England sent over to make sure the Puritans were self-reliant, but were actually challenging the visions of the Puritans. The Saugus Ironworks had a little bit to do with the Revolution in America. This could have been the start of the limits England had forced on the colonies to drive the colonies over the edge.